All right, here we go again. Give me a second. I wanted to see if something was on here. I guess no. I was wondering if Tumblr had a link here, and they don't. So I didn't get. I tried to do my Facebook verification. I couldn't get to it, so they refunded what was left, I guess, of the the fee. I have to get back to that and get that done. And in Tumblr, just went back to my Tumblr account. I forgot I had it, and I was wondering if there was a link. Might be able to RTMP. I don't know. I thought there was a link somewhere, but maybe not. So the idea is this: there is a global intelligence state. They fight each other every so often. So it isn't like, oh, there is no global intelligence state because we don't, we fight each other. There's people in every agency in the world that works for something and they have no idea what it is, but it keeps them safe, keeps them protected from crimes they committed, enriches them. Again, so how did the Iranian family survive here? The global intelligence state. Now they may have said, "Well, we're watching them and intercept communications or whatever it is." What's this thing doing? Also, my screen got dim. Oh, I see. Did a print screen. So I don't remember how many years ago, but it was a while ago. So I project things, and people can pick up on that vibration. I know I can do that because I can see it happen in the world. That's them cursing. So I'll project some sort of, why don't you do this? Wouldn't this be better if you do that? And again, that I don't always get a response to it, but I can watch in the world and I can watch religion change. I can watch all sorts of things change. So I know it's happening again. God, it's God, it's not me, but I'm part of that machine. So the former president, I think he was former president at the time. So he's in his retirement years, I guess, and he's still active, I guess, in certain social circles. Social circles, whatever the Islamabad, whatever his name was. I'm not horrible with name. I just don't commit to remembering them. Unless I need to. I know I'm not a sociopath. I move a lot of material and information through my physical brain. So let's see if they. I can't find it. But it's something like that. So he all of a sudden I pick up a psychic vibration from him, and then you have to develop a system to verify the information. You just can't accept it, and that's it. So his representation was this: that there was a machine in Iran that ensures nobody moves outside of a certain framework. Obviously, there was no reform. I mean, they call the new president a reformer. Obviously, there was no reform. So whatever his plans were, the what's it, Petskin, whatever the present guy is. Well, because at this point, I don't even think about that system too much. Because you can say you're a reformer all you like in Iran and you're not going to reform anything. I knew that. Because that president, it was after he was president, probably pretty soon, maybe he was sitting around thinking, he started picking up on vibrations of suggestions. Now, I will tell you this: when I came out of the government, my family was real nice at first, and then became hostile. So that's a sign that it's the deep state or deep state affected. So I started playing dumb, talking to my brother about the deep state. And he explained to me that they're necessary. Again, they brainwashed him. He still has issues. He's afraid of them, but he's not a true believer any longer. So my brother's a supremacist, but he's kind of a nice supremacist. He believes that people should be helped. but not at the level of the waste, fraud, waste, and abuse we're seeing in the Democratic Party. And he's not, he's not me. Don't. You're even close. So he told me that somebody has to be watching. He was this is the way it is in Iran. That's how it works. Same thing. That somebody has to make sure that everybody stays honest. But of course, it's bullshit. And he's learned that over the years. My brother believes it was in the United States, it's not a perfectly level playing field, but if you try hard enough, you'll get something. And I taught him that's a lie. I mean, increase my disability where it was supposed to be in 2013, probably 2005. And again, in 2005, I could still go get a job, but they wouldn't let me. Like, I don't have a problem with being blackballed from the government. I never had a problem with them doing that. It was just the fact that, first, I'm going to get something for this service, which I, through the Senator Lautenberg, I was able to obtain. And then they blocked me from going to work anywhere, doing anything, and meeting anybody. So again, they cause disability to increase. Again, I can fight the disability that happened because of the Persian Gulf, but they wouldn't let it be fought. And that, because they knew what to do, that means they did it to other people. So they've killed veterans from the Persian Gulf the whole time because they're sickos. All it takes is this. If he's got a girlfriend or she's got a boyfriend, whatever it is, you cut somebody off in traffic. The girlfriend says to her girlfriend in front of, let's say, Brennan. Let's say it's Brennan. The guy's name's Brennan. Says, oh, I think that guy's cute. Brennan will kill you with a deep state. It's that simple. It's that psychotic. It's that psychological murder. So sometime, probably around 2016, I don't know, somewhere around there. I don't remember when that guy came out of office. He transmitted the idea is, I can want to change all I like, but I can't. They'll kill me. So it's a machine. It's like, so they say, well, he's in power. He's got position. They even he ran the ministry, the intelligence ministry for 50 something days. He didn't run it. The machine ran it. So as far as where did Bob go? Who's ultimately responsible for Bob being missing? It's I would call it the Ministry of Intelligence, but of course the IGRC. But we don't know. We don't know if the president of Iran actually knew or could get to the information on what happened to Bob. He can't go to the prison and look for Bob. They'll kill you. So I think in his later years, he actually went back, I think, to IGRC, right? More. So again, I didn't stay focused on him. I can't. Again, you kill me. Or I could have stayed focused on him another few years. Maybe we could have changed him. Even more so. I think he was having doubts at that point about the Iranian system. And believe maybe reform was okay, but there was nothing he could do. He was not, at least he was not brave enough to change it. Right. So if he's not out front enough, what do? They make him afraid that that's going to be it. So what does he do? He has to actually radicalize them. Right? That's how they radicalize people a lot of times, with fear. Again, that's what you're trying to do to me. You want me to hate my neighbor. I don't hate my neighbor unless my neighbor's the devil. And the only way that I know they're a devil is it's pretty thick. I would have to actually know the person and see the signs that God is really trying to send those messages, right? And again, I can't see the metaphysic completely. So again, God would have to judge it, actually. I've never physically hated anyone. Like my neighbor wanted to beat me up in Kansas. He was one of the deep state people. Well, I actually wanted to put my other microphone on to see how that was running. It seemed like the sound cleaned up in the end. I don't know what adjustment I changed, but I definitely needed to buy these. And it's just not comfortable to wear. There's something metaphysical. It could be that it's not as healthy. Right? This is probably a lower, what do they call that? A lower energy Bluetooth. Sometimes I get vibrations like that. You just don't know where they're coming from. And it says, do this, do that. And sometimes it's a health thing. That's what I'm trying to explain. Like people that get sick really bad, that's the only way I stayed alive. Is it said go here, go there. I couldn't get myself back to the gym. And again, the idea is if I went to the gym, I may have saved my health, but somebody may have walked in and shot me. See, this is the weird part. Well, because if the curse builds up to a certain degree, that's what happens. Nothing happens by accident. It's all explainable. So that's who's running it. Now, the weird part is how the global intelligence state came up and started protecting Iran and still is. Because they're blackmailed, they're extorted. So they start getting extorted, and then there's the machine, the way it works is they get extorted a little bit, get pressured, become afraid, do what the thing wants them to do, then it lets them up and sends them money. Or whatever it is they want. It knows to give them something that they're looking for. Like if you were looking for a house, all of a sudden the house shows up and it's cheap. And all it could be is the computer hides it from you, or the intelligence computer, the mainframes, and then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. And it's there the whole time, but you can't see it. It's happening here. So the global intelligence state wants to run the next Iran. That's why they're pushing Rez Pahlavi out. And they're, trying to put what's his name in there? The current president. There may not be a cohesive enough government to actually have a ceasefire. That's the next part. Now, Trump said they sent him some tankers or something with oil as a sign, but again, they may have lost control since then, or simply just at this point, again, lost control and they're just playing a game with it. Like there never was that fracture where one side was saying peace and the other side was saying no. Which means the president of Iran may have no control over the IGRC. Now, I saw a news article like that, but I've been saying that for a while, or seeing it at least. I don't remember if I said it. I don't say everything. So again, that's the beast. Again, witchcraft and spycraft is the beast. The descriptions in Scripture, that hidden presence, is spycraft and witchcraft. And that's what the deep state is. So it's going to warm back up here. We went into a chilly mode for a couple of days. I was getting in a groove to work outside. All of a sudden, it got chilly. I didn't feel like going out. It'll be warm later today, and then tomorrow, real nice. So I initially, when I told the Senate and the House not to talk about it, I thought that it was going to be used for an investigative purpose, such as we record every serial number while we say we don't record those serial numbers, and then we watch that money travel around the globe. But apparently that wasn't the goal. Oh, in the subsequent years, we realized the Democratic Party was more corrupt than we ever knew. Now, again, there's corruption in the Republican Party. It's just standard for the modern age, probably standard for ancient age. But again, what level is that corruption? What are we actually looking at? Again, Hashem and I have come up with this idea to explain it. As long as you're not hurting somebody, just get rich. Again, you can say, well, that hurts people because the money should be, you know, well, you can ethically make honor among thieves, right? There's no honor among thieves today. That's the problem, and you have all these psychotic narcissists in control. Trump's probably the least of the narcissists, if he is, Well, again, he's loud about it. They're secret about it. What's better, to be secret and run spies around killing people, or just to be yelling at everybody? Yelling at everybody. Right. So again, he sent the message that there's almost no way to reform Iran. There is no way, actually. Not almost. And there's nothing he could reform to a point. Everybody can reform to a point, but it's just an illusion. But it's never going to get past the point that you needed to get past. Like where you have honest elections, the elected official could actually govern based upon that election and what everybody desires. It's funny that they still call the current president a reformer, because they didn't reform. They actually went in the other direction. Yeah, that's how weird the deep state is, right? And again, that's one of the problems today. People are ignorant. I'm on all these other social media platforms and just looking at it, just like, you buy into that crap. It's all psychological warfare and spycraft manipulating people. And I saw that happening on X, and that's probably why he trounced me off. Probably made a deal with somebody who they're going to put in next as president, whoever that is. Again, they run like their lives like spies, man. They have spy armies and everything else. They call it corporate security, but they're spies and they're criminals. It's like role reversal. Again, we've not deployed all the units to the Middle East to begin with. So again, as far as the G war beginning, it just doesn't look like they were planning to begin it yet anyway. Again, it's being run in a fair manner. The Iranians are being given every opportunity not to be destroyed. And, it's a win-win situation. We benefit also by Iran not being destroyed, because you got to rebuild it that much more. So again, once we actually, it's kind of handicapped us, because one of the first things we do is take the infrastructure down. And then if you think about it, they'd have been without water, power for quite some time. Whatever they have stockpiled underground, it wasn't going to last. So again, we kind of, it's kind of a Mr. Nice Guy thing. It doesn't generally work when the global intelligence state's operating, because they're upping, like they're spiritually high, all the Iranian leadership, because there's people in Germany, people in the UK that support them and are upping them. And they'll say it's about Trump, but that's a deep state trick. That's an intelligence spycraft trick. You make it about something else other than right and wrong. These senators and congressmen are running a psychological warfare campaign against the United States and against our military in support of Iran. They choose their words to make it look like it's something else. Again, they make it look like it's Trump. Oh, no, we're just coming against Trump. Right. So just in case you don't know, when they canceled my X account, they had been hacking me. And X even agreed that as far as sending me messages, it looks like you were being compromised. But in between that, it would say you violated the rules. I sent him a message. I said, I don't understand this. It looks like I'm being hacked. Because it never said what rule I violated, never said what post it was related to. I had no clue. In the end, it said my account was inauthentic, which means it's a scam. Because that's what the spies say, that I'm just a liar. But it looks like whoever canceled my account backs Pritzker, the governor of Illinois. And it's weird because it's X and Elon. And Pritzker's stock was coming up on X. They kept me on there because they were sending my logs, probably saying that I was looking at porn. And I explained every step of the way, pretty much, not in the beginning, but over time I explained what I was doing. And it's true. Elon Musk ran, and X ran sexualizing algorithms to increase the sexualization, to move you into certain type of sexualization. The spies have an obsession with me going and having sex with well-endowed black men. It's been like that for like 30 years. That's like their main, it's one of their focuses. They've even brought black men around me. And they give me the eyes. So I'm a very strong man, or it would already have happened. That's what the government spends its power and money on. Because these people in government are the narcissists that I speak about. And they are involved in psychological murder, psychological gain from sexualization of others. But they're the ones that couldn't control themselves and ran around and had sex, and people in internal affairs and the IG's office saw it, but they're not allowed to do anything. Again, the deep state in the United States. So they would try to turn me on, and they would run around and have sex together over it. And part of what they're doing is to put you into such high drive that you either go out with a prostitute or you try to rape somebody, or you sit there with big boobies on. So again, I know what happened to Brian, and like I told you before, I don't expect other people to have the power and strength I do to not go over that line. And I was only with a cam girl. They'll play up whatever I say because they get mad because I speak to you about it. But I was with cam girls for, like a month here and a month there, and that was it, probably in my entire life. But if you read the logs, I was trying to get married. They blocked me from marriage for a long time, isolated me, tortured me. Again, the goal is for me to seek an illegal pleasure like a prostitute. They're not prostitutes, and I didn't carry it like prostitution. It just, I received a lot of information. I learned from it. It was a learning experience on how the sexuality works, what the government does around that sexuality, trying to move people in different directions. And again, I got information that a lot of the women that are on there have sexually transmitted diseases, have HIV, and they can't, or they're afraid to have relationships and can't in some cases. Right. So I learned a lot off of that. Psychically, I get a lot of information. And then I also was trying to track organized crime to see if I could discern where organized crime began and where it stopped and that kind of thing. So they were telling me they were overseas. And then a woman produced a $5 bill and, just inadvertently, she said she was in Poland. I said, you're in New York City or Chicago, aren't you? Or something like that. And again, I'm getting my outlet to talk to women. I don't mind helping people. The problem is when you try to help people like in Colombia, I don't think they're getting the money. Well, maybe they are. Maybe if they do well, they get to go because she said I got to go see my mother. Like she disappeared for 3 days. Somebody I was talking to, I was helping. I told her I can't keep. I'm not rich. I can't give you money. I don't want you to think. And I'm not saying this that you have to be my girlfriend or anything like that. But I said, if I were to meet somebody seriously, I would send them money routinely and not worry about it. Because again, I don't worry about it. I was younger and things like that. And she said she said I can't remember it all, but I think she wanted to see her mother. She did definitely go see her mother for a few days after I gave her the money. So they at least let her have part of it. Right. And it's just very sad. I connect with them, and I think I stay like kind of I wouldn't say emotionally connected, but cognizantly, not cognizantly, psychically connected. Right. So I do have a lot of people in there. I don't necessarily need, I can't necessarily pull them all up, but I learned a lot from that. Then I learned what the government was doing to block even my relationship online in that situation. There was somebody in Colombia. I couldn't tell if she was real or not. She seemed very real, but that doesn't mean that there weren't like third party people that would kill me if I went to Colombia. So I wasn't hesitant. I was just really just moving through it slowly, and that's when the deep state attacked, and my mother was part of it. And I know how it works. They prepared her to freak out on me when I would say, "Hey, I'm going to go to Colombia in a few months, possibly to meet somebody. She'll help me take care of you. It's very difficult for me to handle you." And she had a daughter, and she was younger, and wasn't feeling too comfortable with it. But she said, "Look, as far as young guys go," she goes, "Look at my kid. I got this kid. It was a young guy. Why do I want young guys?" And then there's no forced support system, or it wasn't at least then in Colombia. So again, when you start speaking about Colombia being better than the United States and all that because they're a liberal government or whatever, realize that the women there are just you talk about Me Too violations. Essentially, what I figured out was that, again, it's probably true in a lot of places to a certain degree, but young girls are taken advantage of, and once they get to be a certain age, then it's over. They don't have anybody, at all, and then they go to the next generation, and that isn't very old, believe me. So the thing about her that really woke me up to being true is she was taking her cam and she was flashing around her face. He says, "You still want to come?" I was like, "What are you talking about? You still want to come see me?" And she says, "I don't have any makeup on." I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, that's a woman that sounds like that really wants to meet you and is worried about meeting you. You're not like some, scam. So what happened is their mother. I'm just letting you know on that one because they put stuff in your head, and I'm sure about it. I'm sure they're doing it right now. She was no, they're not triggering it because I committed a crime, and I don't feel guilty. They should feel guilty and should be imprisoned. Her mother was a prostitute, married an American, left them. That's pretty much it. Right? So she had she didn't want to become a prostitute. So that's why they're doing the cam stuff. And then I think she has regrets. I have regrets for not really pushing through. It was very difficult for me to push through because my mother said she wanted me out of there after living there for years. The cop should have said that it's not legal for her to do that. In Florida, they have residential rights. And then my mother's crazy. And I told him, I said, "Look, in 7 days, she's going to reverse course." She already had dementia. Because I told her I want to go to Colombia for, maybe a month or something, and then try to get back here with someone else. And back then, it was easier. Now, the government interfered. And a year later, that's when, or less than even a year later, probably, but about a year later, that's when the Secret Service had the scandal in Colombia with the prostitutes. See, it happened every time. And they just get madder. Like I'm doing it. If I had that kind of power, I'd be living in the White House or somewhere at least. I would have a much better life. If I had that much power on this planet, it's God. So what happens is the next one. What was the next one? It was the Colombian thing, and then something else. Oh, the so I'm in massage, and I'm a serious massage guy. I'm a massage geek. All of a sudden, I found massage. I'm healthy again. I'm telling everybody about it. I'm lobbying online for at least 10 massages a year in insurance plans. And then I see in Naples, looked like maybe it was Asian or something. I don't know if it was. I didn't go in, but I took a photo. I said, "This is what," because I learned over the last so many years by research what the questionable massage parlors look like. The first thing they do is totally cover their windows. So I took a photo. I never even knew it was there. So I see that's in Santa Fe. Then they attacked me. And they already attacked me, but they increased it. So I was right. So again, this is the weird part. You all give yourselves away so easily. If you'd ignored what I said, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't even thought twice about it. I would have posted it and moved on. So they start trying to sexualize me in there. Now I'm trying to figure out, is the young lady just confused? Now, she tells me as a kid, she's a single mother, so I'm thinking she could be desperate. Things aren't working for her. Older guy boyfriend, maybe what do they call that thing? The sugar daddy. No, I'm not nobody's sugar daddy. If I'm going to date you, we're going to get married at some point or hope to get married. I mean, things can fail, but yeah, if you get online and you're like normal with cam girls, you learn some of their story. I got to go see my mother. You think it's a scam, maybe, but hey, she's a nice person. Give her money. Because in Colombia, you don't have to give them a whole bunch of money. And then she disappears for a few days. Says, "Well, I went to see my mother." So again, when I gave her the money, they gave her some of the money. I'm not fooled into believing she received all the money, but she received part of the money, and they let her go see her mother. So again, there are things you can do. That, yeah, some of that money goes to a sex trafficker or whatever it is, but she gets, to get to see her money. And you have to understand, while I'm trying to talk to these women, the deep state is out there talking to them. Actually, this is a different title now. I should go to a different one. But again, it's the same thing. It's a global intelligence state and a deep state in the United States and the deep state in Iran. They work together, actually. Here's how it works. Russia may attack an American. And if you're a target, a victim of the deep state, they won't stop Russia. They'll allow them to do it. That's why Iran says, we're controlling your country, spycraft wise. So if they say Larry gets nothing, CIA says Larry gets nothing. Vice versa, vice. Now, there are conflicts, I'm sure, but probably minimal. So if you get on there and you're kind of normal, you can have a normal conversation and learn who they are and what's going on in their life. But the whole time, the deep state's disrupting it. Well, I'd have been married on there somewhere to somebody. And again, when it's happening, you don't understand what's happening. Again, what I know now is not what I knew 10 years ago, or actually it's a little bit more than that. Probably about 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years. Started 16 years ago, a little bit, and then so again, somebody like me, what's actually supposed to happen, the spies are supposed to keep my life safe, fix it where it breaks, and then make sure I'm someplace secure where nobody can just walk in because I'm renting and they have a key. And that helped me find a wife. Again, I realized everybody around me over time, once I figured out what was happening, everybody around me that became the deep state was being led to wealthy and successful marriages. Again, this is still global intelligence state, deep state. So they're ruining the woman's capability to get out of that while saying, I'm doing something wrong. I was there to rescue somebody into marriage at that point. because I had been deceived with the Spycraft honeypot scam in Naples the whole time from like 2006 to like 2010. And God told me, He says, "Don't worry about what the woman's like. I mean, as long as you get along, you can't go with someone." There was a couple of abusive women I ran away from real quick, and it was I realized that was probably a deep state setup to try to flip my triggers. But Hashem says, you and her will get together, and you'll both go to church. It'll happen. Just get with her, and that's it, and everything will work. Because the woman you married was gone. She couldn't control herself. Again, Hashem and I fixed her through the marriage, and she was well enough. And then the deep state attacked her. Yeah, and even her accident was a curse by my coworkers in the deep state. There's no doubt. I stayed many years after that. There was no way to. It got to the point that I wasn't going to have a job if she kept doing what she was doing. Right. Oh, I have no worries about what I did in a divorce. I'll tell you that. I was probably better than most of any man on the planet. The only way I could have been better is I had money and I could give her some more. Right. There's no way I would, she was all worried that I was going to attach to her. Because what happened is she had a malpractice thing happen after a car accident. She should have received at least $1 million. But what happened was the deep state fought it. So she ended up with a $50,000 settlement from car insurance. And she thought I was going to attach. There's no way in a divorce, there's no way I would attach. She's the one that went through the pain and suffering. No way I would do that. I mean, there's other men that would. I would. Again, this gives you an idea as how the Iranian deep state runs, how the global intelligence, I see it's only in 1L, but global intelligence state runs the beast. It's the beast. Well, because it's all encompassing in your life. And that's why people are doing it, but they're taking out people one by one. If you fight them, then as a group, they can't win. But again, it's pretty far into what they've been doing over the decades to take power, so it's kind of difficult. I don't know what Cash is going to come up with, whether the courts are going to allow it or not. I'm kind of hoping they release that soon so I can take a look at it, at what his case is. You can win the individual prosecution case easier than you can the election argument. Because the election argument requires you to look everywhere for so you know what the outcome would have been. You don't know because you're not looking in Wyoming. You're not looking. I'm not giving the Democrats. This is what the deep state got. It's helping the Democrats. Meanwhile, they got Democrat operatives that are part of the Republican deep state. I mean, it's a scam that there are political parties. So you would have to look at Republican locations and have the same investigators or different investigators, however you do it. You have to have them look for corruption in those states before you could say the outcome of the election was A, B, or C. Well, because theoretically in every state, there's some level of corruption that goes undetected. And in reality, it's probably easier to conduct that corruption for Trump in a red rural district than it is anywhere else. Now, you need more rural districts than city districts to make that all come together. So again, I'm not saying it's one way or the other. I still believe that it's what we saw with Biden, that people just hate. It's easy to make people hate the president. And I believe that's part Russian and Chinese installed into the nation, that hate mechanism. Deep state is a hate mechanism. Or they manipulate with a hate mechanism. So the deep state benefits by the presidents changing. I thought it was a good idea to change them, but I guess they countered it with something. So it's easier to prosecute because they had a goal in life for that, for that criminal enterprise, for that uh, criminal conspiracy. And it doesn't, first off, it doesn't matter. First off, it doesn't matter if Biden won. If they had a criminal conspiracy for Biden to win, then it's prosecutable. Now, when we get to statute of limitations, unless you have something else where it continued in some fashion, but I don't know what that would be. But the only way I could see it working is that Biden did win. And that's part of the criminal conspiracy. Now, the judge may require a direct nexus, maybe not. I guess if you can link it to the Democratic Party, then of course you could link it to the administration. So if they pull in, Donna Brazil, which I don't think she'll be pulled in on it, but but that's just a name that everybody knows. Obviously, and you don't need anybody that big, but the idea is somebody that's in the Democratic Party was part of it. Democratic Party won. Therefore, the criminal conspiracy ran to the fruition of the Biden administration. So again, that just gives you ideas how deep states work, and the global deep state is what we're fighting to try to get them to stop providing materials. The deep state, the global intelligence state, and the deep state in our nation is providing material support to terrorism and providing comfort and aid to the enemy of the United States, namely Iran. And that's that. No, you don't need a declared war. Stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.